Hello, Wolfpack. It's Mrs. D'Alessandro. Would you like to know what sociolinguistics is and why it is so important to us as teachers? Well, let's begin. Sociolinguistics is the study of how many factors of the structure of our social environment shape our use of language. These factors can include our education, social class, culture, and the relationship that exists between the sender and the listener. Why is sociolinguistics so important to us as teachers? One of the major reasons for us to be familiar with sociolinguistics in education is because of the impact that word usage has on the value judgments we make about our students and the value judgments that the students make about each other. I'm talking about word choices, accents, and dialects. Let's go ahead and mention the 4 forms of language. They are pidgin languages, code switching, dialectology, and language changes. But how do they affect instruction? Now let's take a look at the main issues related to pidgin languages and how they affect instruction. Pidgin languages, not the bird, grew out of the need for groups of people who do not share a common language but still need to communicate with one another. Pidgins are a mix of words derived from 2 different languages and utilize simple grammar and simple vocabulary. In fact, if the pidgin language is used for a long period of time, it can develop into a common way of communicating its very own language. For example, Pidgin English is recognized as an official language in Hawaii. Though it may seem counterintuitive as educators, recognizing that our students can and do use Pidgin English can be seen as a support to them in learning standard English. This understanding of following simple grammatical rules can transfer to the second language. Another benefit is that Pidgin English provides a measurable framework for students to identify their differences between their language and the new one. As students begin to recognize the differences between their native language and formal English, they can begin to expand their knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. And a final positive implication is also found in accepting and incorporating Pidgin-speaking students as part of the educational system. It supports their self-esteem and adds understanding of the local culture to the classroom. The second form of language usage is called code switching. It's basically when a student's native language and the English language in the same sentence or conversation. It often takes place when the student is faced with given a reply for which they just don't have the vocabulary. A common example is the term "hasta la vista, baby." The implication for code switching for teachers: we should know that correcting non-standard errors is not effective. This method does not often result in the reduction in oral and written errors. This path to this awareness is also through contrast analysis, and the use of Venn diagrams is helpful. The third form of language is dialectology, and this is the study of accents and dialects. Generally, it focuses on the way accents and dialects are distributed by location. Recently, it has added social factors that include gender, social position, and even age. So, what are the implications of dialectology? Well, students and teachers need to be aware of dialects. ELL students will encounter many dialects as they interact with the speakers of the new language. So what's another implication of dialectology? Well, please know that it is so important for teachers to understand how dialects are used so that we can successfully teach our students how to interact with the rest of the world outside the classroom. And the fourth form of language usage is called language change. This is basically a reflection of the needs of the users and the social environment within which they live. An example of language change is what happened in the 50s. Words like smartphone, laptop, cable TV, and internet were not in the language. Today, they're very commonplace. As the world changes and people need to communicate about their world, new words will be added and old ones will be discarded. The implications for language change are similar to the other three language usages, but different because language change is a constant. It can happen very quickly, as with the ideas that came out of Google and Twitter, like, I'm going to tweet a message, or, you know what, just Google it. For English language instructors, teaching the concept of language change is very important. Having students use a system to identify and compare changes in their native language versus in the newly learned language can really help them understand the concept. All right, Sorrento Elementary, I know I learned a lot about language and instruction, and I hope you did too. Well, welcome back to school and have a great day. We are one pack.